if you watch the stream, you watch the stream. But hello, YouTube. This is the start of the YouTube one. We're watching this. This is a great intro. We have Anthony, Fam Salad Hunter, Worth the Warrior, and also Dragon. Make sure you subscribe to all of them, even though Dragon has no content.
Subscribe to me because I actually have content. Is it good content? That's not the point.
I mean, it's better than Fam Salad's old content. So.
Hey, my old content was beautiful.
So
Check out
today
conspiracy facts on my channel.
So this video is the Let's Talk to Conspiracy Theory Iceberg Part 4, Part 2, Part 2, because this is Part 2 of the reaction and Let's Talk. So
I wish I had a mango.
Who craves mangoes? Relax, high maintenance. Alright, so let me full screen this. And we'll get right into it. Also, Dragon is muted, so we'll see him in a bit.
Actually, everything's in a simulation given to us.
Or shall we? That's
the Bouvet Island lifeboat is in reference to Bouvet Island, which is known to be the most uninhabited or uninhabitable island in the world. It is located north off the coast of Antarctica and is essentially a giant glacial rock that is formed that has absolutely no greenery or no sense of sustainability on it. In 1964, one of the first crews to ever go research the island, when they got to the island, found a lifeboat that was not just sitting there but pulled onto shore. However, around it they could not find any footprints, any evidence of life, nothing. But something got that lifeboat to shore, then pulled it on. There were never any bodies found, anything else discovered, and it simply remains a mystery of how that boat got there. A lot of the theories that have to do with it reference back to the idea of Agartha, and that German soldiers from World War II who were moving that direction, one of them may have got stranded there and later picked up, and that goes in line with the entire idea that Nazis found Agartha in Antarctica and then tried to move their troops there once the war was over. Abiogenic oil.
Huh. That like every up to the Agartha part actually has some merit to it.
I have no idea. I wasn't here.
So pretty much, Dragon, they found this lifeboat on this uninhabitable island, and there was like no footprints or signs of bodies, or there was no bodies found, and there was like no trace.
It was just. Perhaps it could have just, I don't know, drifted there.
Yeah, and someone pulled it to the shore as well.
No, Hunter, the problem is it's not sitting in the ocean. It was dragged on shore. So,
I'm gonna close my curtains real quick.
If it was offshore, it could have floated there. It's whatever, right? But it was sitting on the island, just sitting there.
Yeah, it could have been brought in by waves and rising and lowering sea levels.
Yeah, looking at the picture, the waves don't go that far.
The way that it is... It could be just due to rising and lowering sea levels that boat is there. Because there's no trail of the boat.
I mean, that is a possibility, but what about, like, who was in the boat? Like, who was in the boat? Who... And like, why was there
whoever was in the boat probably died to starvation and their body is somewhere in the ocean.
If anything, like, the most plausible explanation would probably be a lifeboat was lowered, but no one went into the lifeboat, and it just kind of drifted onto Bouvet Island. But that is weird, because, like, who would just randomly lower a lifeboat? You know?
It could have been a whole catastrophe. We don't know. Yeah, but it's actually the Nazis finding Agartha. It's like...
Bouvet would be pretty neato spaghetto to use in our stories, though.
Yeah, it would, but like... No.
I mean, I can think of a few places where I could use it.
Alright, so let us and tomatoes continue.
And then try to
I'm gonna leave
troops there once the war.
This is what Dragon.
Abiogenic oil is the thought that oil, as we know it, is not actually a fossil fuels given from dinosaurs or other prehistoric creatures, and is instead come from an entirely non-biotic process. Essentially, it would work that carbon monoxide and hydrogen rised up to the surface, combined with zirconium, and created a petrohydroxyl. What that essentially means is that through a mix of natural gases, oil was formed instead of the way that we normally think of it as fossil fuels. Secret societies today is vague, but...
Okay, well, I mean, it has some proof to it, but, like, no.
Yeah,
Not,
like,
it's
and
not
here's the
very
thing,
big.
I'm not doubting that it's never happened. But if you're gonna say all oil happens like that,
It's like,
you know what I'm
bruh,
saying?
like, this is where I get into the part, like, who actually believes in this? And that's the thing. There's actually people that believe in this. And that interests me. Like, it's interesting to see what goes through people's minds that gets them to believe in this kind of stuff. Like, it's interesting.
If you want to see what goes through people's minds, just watch like a freaking Freud documentary, or those weirdos that think that there's an alien that can transmute with their brain.
Conspiracy facts. If you want to see what goes on in people's minds.
Just like, I don't know, anything else but like an actual conspiracy. This bull is stupid. It's just so stupid. Like, God.
Honestly, Abiogenic Oil, I do not believe in this, but whoever does, you do, I guess.
Keep going.
Alright, let us continue.
That we normally think of it as fossil fuels. Secret societies today is vague, but you get the idea. Just the idea that the Freemasons, Illuminati, and stuff like that are all these conspiracy networks that still exist and operate today outside of the public eye. Real Mizium is kind of hard to figure out on because
before we get to my favorite conspiracy on this entire section of the iceberg, secret societies today. Yeah, I did my own research the other day about this. It's just as vague as he was saying it was, but yeah, that's also my assumption, and I have two answers to this. One, it's plausible, which is my personal opinion, or two, no, which is not my opinion.
I think it's very plausible. It's just like,
I think it's a possibility.
I think at this point they're not gonna have any power though. Like, they're not gonna do anything.
Yeah,
I say there's a 50-50 coin split. I mean, it could be existent or it could be not, but until
If they do, what are they gonna do?
further proof.
yeah, like what, like I could see having some power, but like complete infiltration of like governments and world powers.
Yeah, that's
like
that's basically impossible. It's not gonna happen.
I mean, at the
ever.
same time, a mob of angry people were able to get into the White House. So I mean,
Capitol building.
so I guess anything's possible. Alright, let's continue.
Operate today outside of the public eye. Real Mizium is kind of hard to figure out on because I can't find a reference to any Mizium with real in the beginning of it, but Mizium itself is in reference to an event that happened on 4chan a few years back. Essentially, a new user appeared on the site called Mizium that said that they were an alien from a different planet who was simply stopping by, connected to the internet, and wanted to know if people had any questions. After answering questions in a sort of vague manner, people started requesting that they take pictures of their house or of their geographic location. Mizium then went around to these areas and started snapping pictures of people's houses from the sky or different areas of the earth and things such as, and it even got to the point that someone asked them to go take a picture of the moon, to which they took a few and sent them back, and through reverse Google image search, no one could find any records of these photos online. Furthermore, someone asked Mizium to come to their house. The person then went outside and started recording, and in the recording you can see a giant triangular ship pass by overhead and keep on going. The guy filming starts freaking out, comes back to 4chan, says that Mizium's real, and then at the end of this entire thing, Mizium said, well, gotta go, my family's here, and took off. So I guess real Mizium is just saying that Mizium was not a hoax. So yeah. Prison.
Yeah, that's my favorite conspiracy on this entire thing.
That's there's all kinds of stuff like this, right?
For 90% of this, I was thinking this is just complete bullshit. 4chan can do some crazy shit. They can find criminals. They can find specific geolocations. They can find houses of people that have made videos on YouTube by taking the layout of the house and searching for hours and hours and hours in freaking Oklahoma and find that house. But as soon as I saw the ship, I was thinking perhaps. I mean, it is 4chan. 4chan has some crazy stuff. Who's just saying why not alien?
Yeah, and plus the thing about the Google reverse search is also very compelling as well.
Oh yeah,
because like how are you supposed to take pictures of the moon at close angles without having like a satellite take off or something like that, you know?
This is really interesting to me. Like, do I think that it actually? I don't know. Who knows? The thing is, who knows?
This is one thing that I actually would believe in, because there's another conspiracy. I don't know where it is, but there's this one where apparently some alien asked or like sent out letters or something to a bunch of people, telling them about or like asking them about how Earth is and stuff like that, and like people replied to it, and then no one ever heard of them again. So there's another one like that, except it's like more different. So
yeah, it's just like who knows. That's a solid who knows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I personally actually do and would believe in this because it's interesting.
I wish.
And I'm that type of person that's just like, yeah, aliens are real, because like I've had my own experiences with that kind of stuff. So I'm a firm believer in UFO and aliens.
Right.
I think Museum still has an account, or did you delete it?
I don't know. I didn't do my own research when it came to that topic. I just really like the story.
Next, prison planets.
Planets that
planets can have two possible definitions. One of them is the idea that the Kessler effect, or Kessler syndrome, which is something that we've seen happen on Earth, in which debris from satellites and things such as are continuously hitting and bouncing off of each other and essentially creating a cloud around the world till eventually we probably won't be able to get spaceships out because this clutter will be too much. This theory goes further to the point that the idea we haven't interacted with extraterrestrials yet is because they have done the same thing in their own time and made it impossible to escape their planet. The other theory is that humans are not the natural members of planet Earth, and some thousand years ago, humans were brought to Earth as a sort of prison planet by extraterrestrials. The evidence for this is things such as humans are not meant to walk upright, and that we constantly get lower back pains from the way our bodies are positioned, and that we are supposed to be living in a different kind of atmosphere. This also would explain why such old world cults and religions had ideas of flying saucers and look to the stars and things such as, essentially as a means that we were put here as punishment and we spent the last 1,000 years trying to get back out. Malta Catacombs is in reference to a series.
I think that this one is a complete load of bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, we get back pain. That must mean aliens. Like, that is legitimately something that I would have freaking said in conspiracy facts. And the fact that we look at the stars is because we see 90% of our, a lot of our time, half of our day is looking at blue sky. And then that completely changes to black sky with a bunch of glowing lights.
Because the stars...
Who else wouldn't be studying that?
Well, not just studying, it's fascinating. Nowadays, when you were... just think about the first time you truly looked up at the stars. Think about how fascinated you were with all the shimmering lights in the sky. Right?
Also, there is an actual...
different brightnesses. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, yeah, sure. Why?
Also, there is an actual scientific theory that life itself is not from this Earth, and that's because there's a theory that's actually held up by science that says, what if there was a collision with another planet somewhere else in the galaxy, and debris from that had either all the properties needed for life, or had like microorganisms on the debris, and whenever it came and hit the Earth or collided with the Earth in some type, it kind of like dropped off, you know? and that's how life
I
started.
think that-
And that's and part of that theory is, or like the first version of the theory where it's just like it had the stuff for life is actually held up because
That's
water
how we
could have
honestly
been inside some of those meteorites, and that's how we got water and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that it's entirely a possibility. I've even thought the same myself where, hey, maybe, just maybe, we aren't from here. We decided to go here from some crazy, not coincidence, but I've thought that we don't exactly were born here. I don't think. Okay, hold on, let me turn off the Twitch. It's screwing me up. Okay, so I think that oftentimes, a lot of the time, I think that we came from somewhere else. I don't think that we just decided to exist and that we became fish out of. I think, obviously, we evolved to our current state of existence, but I think that that existence came from somewhere else.
And evidence suggests this. Tono's whole thing with another planet hitting us, that's a little far-fetched. But what is legitimately thought and known is microbes didn't come in, but amino acids. We have found evidence that amino acids can exist in comets and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So if you have amino acids constantly bombarding the Earth, eventually those amino acids combine with something, and you get life.
Yeah, and
I had
and prison planets, like the whole idea that prisoners built pretty much are humans, and that's how we got here. Like that, I don't believe, but coming from other planets is certainly a possibility, which is actually really exciting and cool to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a freaking sandwich on his desk? No, that's a book with a circle on it.
That's not a book. That is a cup. You know the things that you put cups on? It's one of those.
Coaster?
On top of
You mean a cup holder?
It's a coaster.
You mean a coaster?
Yeah,
You mean
a coaster?
I don't
coaster.
I don't remember.
In fact, I am using a coaster.
Yeah,
I'm using a
that's
coaster.
a
It's the
coaster
one-
on top
No,
of a CD case.
No, dude. You know what
Coaster on
I'm
top
using?
of a ham sandwich.
You know what? You guys want to know what coaster I'm using?
What coaster
The
are
best
you
one.
using?
Also, I'm gonna
The
throw
best.
away some trash, so I'm gonna be right back. You may converse, and or put in some mid rolls.
Welcome back, and today we have okay. So, all right. So, I wanted to talk about our sponsor. I'm just kidding.
I did want to talk about a theory that I've had myself, although it is not backed up by science, and there's little to no possibility of this existing. But I always thought that human existence came from the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. Like there was some kind of microbe on this thing that slowly evolved into what we are today.
That's kind of bullshit, but
it is entirely bullshit. But that's just kind of like a shower thought that I've had in the back of my mind.
I was gonna say there's another theory that like this is the weird theory because it like if me saying it almost kind of how do I explain this? There's a theory that there is only one person, right?
I see what you're talking about. The egg.
What?
Reincarnation as everyone on Earth, that kind of thing.
No. Okay, basically the theory is that the theory is that while you're walking around the Earth, like around the world, just walking around, right? You might be able to walk out of your reality. You know what I mean? If you go around the corner fast enough or something, you can walk out of your reality and enter someone else's.
You walked into a room faster than the game would load.
Exactly. Like you know what I'm saying? And like your reality is different from everybody else's, and some people may not exist in other people's. It's like just something like that has always been very interesting to me.
Yeah, it's kind of like that thing with Mandela effects. That one theory where it's just like, oh, universes are crossing over each other, and that's how we kind of get it. Kind of like that.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going.
This is my
and we spent the last 1,000 years trying to get back out. Malta Catacombs is in reference to a series of catacombs that were discovered in the 1960s around Malta, Italy. The stories of this one get weird. The way it was discovered is that home contractors were digging around the area and accidentally broke through the rock into this complete underground labyrinth that had never been discovered. After researchers went in, they discovered it was much, much bigger than just one room and instead was a necropolis, or city of the dead, in which 7,000 bodies were buried in these underground catacombs. What's especially weird is why they all had sort of a ritual done with their burial. It seems as incense was burned on each of them. Inside of there was Christians, Muslims, Jews, and other different competing religions all buried in this one area. What's even weirder is that on examining them, several of the skulls were elongated. And not to the point of skull binding that is found in several sort of African cultures in old world history, like these very, very long non-human looking skulls. It is estimated that the caves are as old as 4000 BC. Research became scant after a group of researchers went to the cave, and upon getting to the end of one of the systems, one of the chief researchers said that she approached a giant drop-off, and then in shining her flashlight to the other side, she saw a sort of embankment that 25 people came out of, each of which were 20 feet tall and wearing robes. When they saw her with the flashlight, they all looked towards her and began reaching out their arms. Her and the rest of the research team got out of there, and a couple weeks later, 30 school students went to the area on a sort of field trip to which they got lost, and people that were looking for them heard screaming and shouting, and none of them were ever found. The crew then got out of there, boarded it up, and to this day it is a no-go zone. So what's in the caves? Why were those bodies never found? And what were those creatures walking around in there? Amphibians.
Yeah, that is another favorite of mine.
Hey, guess what? The students...
That is actually not completely unlikely.
It is not, but I also have something else to say. Hold on, I have something important to say, Anthony.
Huh.
The students did not pass the vibe check.
Alright, man.
I'm sorry, that was stupid.
So religion has a very powerful control over people. We know this for a fact.
Yeah.
What if there's an alien race that believes we are either extremely holy or extremely demonic? Right? So they came to this planet for that reason, to either, you know what I'm saying? Right? And like,
yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it's just very creepy. Like, that gives me a bunch of chills. Like, I'm like,
yeah, like,
I don't like that.
Yeah, especially with the descriptions of the weird creatures things in there.
And like, you know what I mean? It's like putting their hands out. Like, it's like they're praising them.
Their hands up, or like, I thought that meant like put their hands up to grab.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Grab the crab, grab the crab.
Like we don't know their intentions, so we can't really say for certain.
Yeah, that's creepy, dude. That is creepy as hell.
That does make me think that they kidnapped a lot of humans and made them inbreed a lot, which would explain an elongated head, because if you inbreed a lot,
aliens. I hate to say aliens,
really explain being 20 foot tall.
20 feet.
No. I don't think that those things are 20 foot tall. I think that the corpses with elongated skulls are inbred people.
Ah, okay. So you think the other things are not human? Or not whatever.
I don't think that they're human. I think that perhaps.
Keep going, so I don't like implode. Please, like it's kind of.
Yeah, this is kind of spooky.
Yeah, that
gives me the heebie-jeebies, man.
Yeah, that's like.
I want to go there though. I want to check that place out. It sounds awesome.
Yeah,
You're
gonna die. Bye.
Yes, that is entirely the point. But if I die, I will have photographic evidence, and then my family will get billions of dollars.
How are you gonna give it to him? You're gonna be dead in a catacomb.
He's gonna be like taking pictures and attaching it to an email.
I'm gonna get cell service in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah,
Hunter,
later.
Listen. Hunter like adds it to an email, right? Like as he's going through, he takes pictures and adds it to an email, and he's just ready to click send. And as soon as he gets kidnapped, he hits send. So they have all the evidence. Let's keep going.
But I will say this.
you need more data service. His credit card declined.
I will say this.
Hey,
there is so much more behind this that could unlock so much more for human beings specifically. And besides, it's not 100% chance of death because obviously the researchers have gotten out with their lives. And not only would take this from conspiracy theories, it would take this into facts, which could take us down a whole other rabbit holes of religion and change things for the course of history.
Yeah, I'm not risking my life for that. Sorry.
That might be true if you're not willing to risk your life, because there's another chance that this could mean absolutely nothing, and you're just dying for no cause whatsoever.
Yeah.
Keep going, please. Keep going.
Yes. Sorry.
Why were those bodies never found? And what were those creatures walking around in there? Amphibians in Iraq was near impossible to find information on. I'm pretty sure this is in reference to the lizard men of Iraq. Around a place in Iraq called Ubaid, there was a sort of coliseum that was found and discovered to be an old burial chamber. Upon going inside, there were several bodies and statues of old people from Iraq, but what was very weird is several thousand of these little statues were of lizard men, with these very elongated skulls and in different positions. What's even more interesting is why some may disclaim this and say, oh, it was an old world god. These were perfectly mixed in with the normal people statues, and they were all maintaining common poses, kind of saying that it was just a natural occurrence. To this day, no one knows the source of where these lizard men came from or what the knowledge about them was, and they just exist as if old world history was.
Enjoy our tasty snack, powered by plant protein. Harvest Snaps.
I will not.
I hate YouTube sometimes because it's just like, oh, here, you could have two 6-second ads that are very inconvenient.
Okay with them. Phantom kangaroos are a phenomenon that has.
Alright,
wait, I thought Mark Zuckerberg was American.
I have no fucking idea. No, I could go into the.
I was about to say the same thing, I thought Mark Zuckerberg was American. Like, there's so many jokes you could make from this.
No, guys, I have the theory. These are the same lizard men from the cat. No, I'm not even gonna.
I also need to go bathroom, so I'm gonna be right back.
Okay, I will say this. I think that it's entirely possible for them to worship these lizard men, because again, these are just statues. Worshipping it like religion isn't
like, let's be honest, we're like,
possible.
the other thing that I don't think people consider is like, now we have art that looks really cool, but doesn't actually mean anything, right?
Yeah, there's
nobody ever considers that in history. It could literally just be an art thing. You know what I mean? It could just literally just look cool, and people thought it looked cool.
The first ever furry convention. I'm sorry, this is getting out of hand. Anyways, I don't think that they're lizard men. No chance in my mind that these are just drawings or some kind of other thing. But there's no way that these are real. Other than possibly in a dead religion. Also, I'm hearing myself just through the Twitch, which I turned back on, and it's very in my face.
Adam back, what happened?
Anthony and I were just talking about the possibility of the lizard people being a dead religion or just cool drawings. And then I made a joke saying the very first ever furry convention, and then yeah.
Do you know what I was gonna... And you know what I said? Does nobody ever consider the fact that it looks cool, and maybe it was just like a thing because it looks cool?
I mean, possibly.
Like, we have art that just looks cool now, so...
Yeah, so... It's possible.
Exist as if old world history was okay with them. Phantom kangaroos are a phenomenon that has been found in the United States, in which several people have reported seeing kangaroos in the woods or around their house. What's odd is there are several hundred occurrences of this, with it going from everywhere to someone saw them in the middle of the woods, to someone saw one on their front porch, and this is as recently as 2018. It's not like some old previous century concept. Some of the descriptions have them as being much larger than normal kangaroos and even armored. These descriptions match that of Procoptodon, which is an old sort of kangaroo ancestor that remains been found in the United States in years previous, given the idea that maybe this is just an extinct animal that never actually went extinct and is existing in the forest of the United States. The Patomskiy Crater.
I actually, the only reason I like this is because me and Hunter actually looked at this whenever we were looking at cryptids.
Oh, right, this is a phantom kangaroo.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Alright, so that's pretty cool.
You consider the possibility of a lot of people doing drugs. I'm thinking that this could be some kind of
the other thing is
Mothman effect where it was seen once and then everyone wanted to feel special, so they all kind of passed the story around again and again and again.
And then, but the other thing is, there are a couple issues I have with this. One, these kind of things start to stop working in a modern context when, like, civilization starts moving on. I don't know where exactly these were at, but it'd have to be in a not so populated area. If it was this woods right outside of fucking city, like, you know what I mean? These kind of things get discovered eventually. We know a lot about the land. Like, the likeliness of us not discovering this thing is possible, but in order for it to be feasible like this, it'd have to be in a lower populated area, such as where Mothman happened. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The reason that was more plausible, more believable, is because that happened in, like, doesn't that the Appalachian Mountains, like Virginia or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
right
wasn't it
stuff?
Well, yeah, and right next to the Appalachian Mountain Forest. That's a heavily wooded area. Stuff can hide there. You can't cover every single point of that forest at one point.
Well, like if
a kangaroo though,
in like the Sandias or like Jemez, and
another possibility is what I was thinking. Maybe like a deer lost its antlers, and people were just looking at it out of the corner of their eyes. Because if kangaroos were in America, they wouldn't just be like, see it on the porch. That would not happen.
I mean,
there wouldn't be giant
porches, so.
Well, yeah, but bears are a completely different story because of the way that bears work. If it was a kangaroo, no.
Also, no one's just seeing the kangaroo, like, especially if you see it moving, like, kangaroos move in a really specific way. So, like,
that is true, but we don't get a description on how we see it. The thing is, there is not enough information for it to be even considered true, considering by just the fact that we don't get a description on how it moves, we don't get a description on the location, we don't get absolutely anything.
Yeah, and even in the cryptid, like, even when me and Hunter were looking at cryptids, we didn't really get much information except for the, like, similar stuff that he said here.
People are like farting in the wind and then thinking it's some kind of giant Bigfoot is what I'm thinking. I think it's a bunch of malarkey.
Actually went extinct and is existing in the forest of the United States. The Patomskiy Crater is in reference to a giant crater-like structure found in Siberia. What's interesting is this, while it may look like a crater on first viewing, is anything but. It is a giant rock structure that just perfectly matches the shape of it, and what's even weirder is that the area immediately around the crater is very much overgrown as compared to the woods around it. Now, while this may lead you to think radiation, there are no highly active radiation in the area. The nearby tribe of the Yakut has said that it is a place that people do not travel or else they get sick and die, and have even named the area Fire Eagle's Nest. One of the only research groups to ever go and try to take a look at it, because remember it's in the middle of Siberia, in 2005 had their leader die of a heart attack upon approaching it, and there hasn't been much research since. So yeah, make your own conclusions about that. Thomas Pynchon.
Magic mountains are a thing. Yes, I will believe that. I am a fun
There's just so
believer in
much
a lot
crap,
of different
isn't there?
stuff.
What I think is funny is the illusion that we know anything about the world. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's
A lot of these.
Like
A lot of these are
sorry.
a lot of these are like pointing out stuff like we don't know, right? And it's like it's just conspiracy doesn't exist. But a lot of these are stuff that actually happened. Whether what people saw was actually real, that's not the point. These places actually exist, and we don't know a lot about them. We have this illusion that we know how things work, but we really don't, because there's stuff like this that just seems to out of nowhere spontaneously do this. It's like, but we don't know why. So we really do not know as much about the world that we think we do.
Yeah, I saw like not a diagram, but like a little thing where it's just like it shows a little dot, and it's just like what we know, and then outside of that is a bubble like what we think we know, and stuff that we don't know, and then stuff that we don't know that we don't know. Pretty much, it's just like we only have this small little bubble of this huge, vast, like universe
and I love
of information that we
what we
don't
know, because there's a ton of we don't know.
I want a secret island.
Like no one knows what we don't know. There's a lot of things that we don't know what we don't know because of like
exactly. So like
we haven't figured out any answers to other things, and it's stuff like this that is just like it's like an example of that. Like this and King Tut's tomb, like those are like the prime two examples. Like, does magic exist? I don't know. A lot of theories say no, but here's some stuff that show that curses might be real or that magic exists.
I think that magic will never exist in a certain context.
Yeah, so, like no matter how much I like magic, I don't believe magic would be too real.
Even if we like figure out like Alakazam, there's $1 billion freaking dollars, on my desk. They can be taken down and broken into a science. In reality, magic will never be a thing in its own context.
I'm gonna have to argue with that, but for now, agree to disagree.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, I bet.
Hasn't been much research since. So, yeah, make your own conclusions about that. Thomas Pynchon was an author that is still alive and is most known for his books he wrote in the 1960s. It would take way too long to explain all of the things that he talked about in his book, but essentially he was a fiction author that used like advanced science as a basis for his stories. More specifically, a concept he is famous for dealing with is that of Maxwell's demon, which is the idea that if you had a very small figure that could individually interact with particles and heat on a microscopic level, it could tip the balance of entropy and make physics work backwards. He used this as the basis for a lot of his books and is known as either having a higher understanding than the average person or creating concepts that are so abstract they've led to several concepts in modern theoretical physics. Animism is just the broad idea.
That's not much of a conspiracy. That's just kind of real. Like there's
this guy that wrote books, and wow, it's crazy.
There's a guy that wrote books that contributed to theoretical physics. Okay.
Well, no. Like the idea is that he had a higher understanding because we still don't know everything about what he wrote. Like,
I mean, that's fair, but like that.
To be okay,
I wouldn't say that's a conspiracy.
You know what?
I wouldn't say
I know.
That's mind blowing.
Honestly, what I would say about this is I want to move on because I don't know what else to say about it.
I will say this. I think that it is a possibility that he was just speaking it out of his ass and kind of sort of got a lot of concepts correct. Like the atom was created so much further before what we actually knew what an atom was.
Yeah, and there's a lot of examples of stuff like that throughout history. Like, there's people who knew the atom existed before it actually existed. There's a mechanism that was found in, I can't remember, in the Mediterranean that can track the planet's movements and based on the geocentric model and also can tell time for now and the future. And like at that time they weren't really a fond believer of like a geocentric or a heliocentric model, sorry. And a few other things. So it's just like there's a lot of examples throughout history that it just has like people or groups of, or like one person or groups of people that just seem to be smarter than everyone else, you know? It's very interesting to look at.
Keep on trucking, man.
To several concepts in modern theoretical physics. Animism is just the broad idea of applying a soul or spirit to anthropomorphic objects. It's actually where the idea of anthropomorphism comes from. So essentially you can imprint the idea of a spirit or character onto a physical item enough to the point that it eventually becomes real. The Dighton Rock is a rock.
Okay, well,
That's cool.
I don't have anything to say about this.
I do.
Like,
Isn't this already like? Do they mean animals or like physical objects like mouse?
No, if it were like physical objects, it'd be anthropomorphism. This is animism, which is pretty much similar but different. Pretty much what you could do is you could imprint your own spirit onto something, and if you do it enough, then it will come alive, pretty much.
Oh, I see.
I don't have anything to say about this, so
it's like, yeah.
Well, okay, that's neat. I mean, it hasn't been really done before, but yeah, it's pretty neat.
To a physical item enough to the point that it eventually becomes real. The Dighton Rock is a rock that is found off the coast of the Taunton River in New Jersey. What's interesting about this rock is that it looks perfectly normal from a distance, but as you get close to it, you realize there are these very deep inscriptions all over it that do not make sense in any recorded language, and the depictions also don't match up with anything. Theories about this rock have ranged from King Solomon in showing that the depictions of it are that of the Old Testament, or Norse mythology and that it is an entire story of Odin laid out on the rock. But both of those ask the question, then why would this rock show up in New Jersey unless Solomon or the Norse or something like that arrived at America and brought the stone with them from all that time before? Either way, it's still interesting that it got there with absolutely no recorded history of it being there. Bunkers in Mars is in...
Okay, before we get into some weird stuff... yeah, Dighton Rock. It's a thing that exists, and there's a lot.
People draw shit. People draw shit.
Yeah, my theory is just that natives just decided to draw something on a rock. Like
no, not just natives. What I'm thinking is, think about when you're a little kid and you draw random shit that doesn't make any sense.
I still do that.
What? I know. Right? What if this is just like some kid who etched this in and that something doesn't make any sense? Like, look at this cool drawing I made, right? But then it didn't wipe away. That's my theory.
I draw a penis.
It's just some doodle. It's just some guy's doodle.
In the future, and then they're gonna be like, "How did
let's go? Let's go to bunkers on Mars, dude."
Yeah,
we're gonna get into some weird stuff now.
Interesting that it got there with absolutely no recorded history of it being there. Bunkers in Mars is in reference to the fact that the Mars rover caught a few short glimpses in the middle of rock faces on Mars of what seemed to be these windows or cutout metal places. This is combined with the theory that water originally existed on Mars and says that the planet had a mass extinction event in which everyone had to go underground, and that from looking at the Mars rover's images of the planet of Mars that we can see sort of these last remnants or possibly still living remnants of the Mars population. Triassic Mystery is...
Yeah, that's it. I don't believe in it. I just don't.
I don't for one particular reason.
What?
How long ago? How recently would they have had to gone extinct for them to still be alive? And the ancient remnants is like, it's plausible, but the problem is, we don't know. It could just be a texture glitch, right? Until we send someone to actually go investigate, we will not know. So I have no comment, because if there is actually vaults there, then that's interesting. But I don't.
Wait, so
don't
they
know.
just saw a hole in there like aliens?
Well, okay.
Honestly,
Not just
it could
a hole.
also be a naturally carved out cave as well.
Yeah, but caves aren't perfectly rectangular.
I mean,
I suppose
you don't know.
it's not
You've never seen a
perfectly
rectangular cave.
Let's keep going. You know, can we just keep going? Because I don't like. I'm not gonna say anything on this until we have evidence to support that it isn't real. Because let's be honest, we actually don't, because we haven't sent a human being there to investigate.
Yeah, it's a weird subject.
And there's so many things that can happen between trying to take a picture from space and send it back to Earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's too many factors.
Space is 20 minutes away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, if something messes up, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's so many things that can go wrong and can make things look weird that I can't really say anything about it.
Yeah.
Or possibly still living remnants of the Mars population. Triassic Mystery is a little too vague for my liking, because there are several Triassic Mysteries when it comes to missing links and things such as. However, the one that I found the most reference is that of Craterocarodon, which is essentially a giant omnivore that was discovered, and its teeth don't make sense for its skull, and it's supposed to be a sort of missing link. So yeah, that's it. Montanism comes.
Also, Triassic Mystery could also refer to the extinction that happened before the Triassic period, because in the transition to the Triassic period, there was a extinction that happened where that left niches to be filled by dinosaurs and that kind of stuff. Yeah, no one really knows how the extinction happened.
I think there are missing links we haven't discovered yet, and there are little weird anomalies, but
yeah.
Keep going.
That one's not like, I can't really touch on it because like it's very vague.
Yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going, dude.
And it's supposed to be a sort of missing link.
Following trucking.
Yeah, that's it. Montanism comes from a man named Montanus and was an idea he developed in the 2nd century AD, which essentially says that you can continue to expound on the Bible and get insight through revelations. This was specifically done with him, in which he saw that there would be a soon coming end of times, and started sort of the first cult in this ideology, or at least first known religious cult in this ideology, that God would come back soon, specifically at his church. Ideas of Montanism today are just that Christianity can be expounded upon if people receive direct information from God. The Sabich top.
I don't know what to think about that kind of, like, yeah, it happened, but like, I don't know if I necessarily want to believe in that or do believe it. Like,
I don't really care. I mean,
yeah, I honestly just don't care too much for end of time.
It's kind of cool though. Yeah, let's go. Let's keep going.
Yeah, like.
I mean, hold on.
What are you saying, Hunter?
The idea which it was talking about expanding on the Bible, is that right? Is that what he was saying?
Yeah, it expands on the Bible.
I always wondered that as a child, why don't they do that? But then I just understood, well, it's not of Jesus, and then 90% of the ideas that you have are... There are a lot of...
Okay, Hunter. It's not expanding upon the Bible. It's, you can read into it more and have revelations and like...
Oh, you can read into it more. I mean, I guess there is, like...
And like, if you read into it, the end of times is stated, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, religious cults and stuff like that, where it's just like...
It's just, like, a bunch of... I don't know. I feel like people can... I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think that it's necessarily a good thing, because of all all of the evils and misdeeds and misinterpretations that can come of the Bible, because there's already like a shit ton of misinterpretations of the Bible, and I feel like this can take it to such a larger extreme that I don't
Let's keep
agree
going.
with.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can be expounded upon if people receive direct information from God. The Sabic Tomatovic tape, which I believe still translates in Serbian to sandwich tomato, is in reference to a Serbian porn star who claimed that she was roped by a giant spider.
Why is this a conspiracy theory?
No, I'm not kidding on that. It goes more so to say that she was roped
Fine.
by the Jabba Fofi, or Jabba Fofi, which is a cryptid from South America, which is essentially a giant 4-foot wide spider. And while there is evidence to back up that existence, there is no evidence to back up this tape. However, she supposedly became popular in something called Jinky Jinky, which is a Japanese ring of insect-related films, and became a star with costumes and machines in that realm, and I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Marko Rodin.
Nope, just no.
Alright.
No comment.
No demonetization. We're just gonna move on, alright? We're just
Wait,
gonna
no, wait,
move on.
wait. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
I don't want demonetization. We're just gonna move on. I don't want demonetization. Alright, let's go.
Machines
What?
in that
I
realm,
was having
I don't know.
and I don't want to live on this
I'd
planet.
like to live. You know what?
Marko
No,
Rodin
we're not
was
continuing the video.
originally
I'm
a
leaving.
physicist who came up with the concept of
Guys.
costumes and machines in that realm, and I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Marko Rodin was originally a physicist who came up with the concept of the forever electron, and that there is a path that an electron could follow in which it could convert energy without ever losing it, so essentially a forever supplying power source. Since then, he has got very much so into esotericism and went on this long discovery to try to figure out the name of God and the source of God. And through this series of calculations he did, he figured out that the holy number was 9 and that God's name was Abha, A-B-H-A. So, yeah. Operation Paperclip.
This guy, just this guy. Like, I don't know what to say about this guy. He's interesting, but also weird. And that's coming from me. Like, what are you supposed to say about this? It's just like, oh, there's a forever electron. You could have a path that gives you energy and stuff, but it's just like that doesn't hold much merit to it.
Well, have infinite energy. That's cool. I'm gonna calculate using math in the name of God. The fuck.
Like,
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Name was Abha, A-B-H-A. So, yeah. Operation Paperclip was something that happened after World War II and is now pretty well known, in which 1,600 Nazi scientists were granted U.S. citizenship for their assistance in the American rocket program, and more specifically, the space race. The theory goes on to say that the only reason we beat Russia to space is through the help of German scientists. Planck feedback is the idea that as...
I mean, they're not wrong.
Yeah, like this is not really a conspiracy theory. It's just, I mean, okay, there's a conspiracy, like, oh, but it's like, let's be honest. Let's be honest. When World War II ended, one of the biggest things that could have happened was the Nazi scientists. The Nazi scientists were like, they were very advanced, but like,
Yeah,
why
they were
not?
even
right?
working on making a nuclear bomb as well.
Exactly, right? So why not have and it's not just the United States that did this. Everybody tried to pull Nazi scientists because they were very smart.
Yeah, and
right?
at the end of the day,
so it's like, so they just and like it's what happened after the Cold War. All the Russian scientists came over. It's a similar thing, okay? The whole granting them citizenship, that's pretty risky back then, but I think it's plausible, right? I think, let's say they finished a couple projects, and like I think that they earned it. You know what I mean? I don't think that any of the scientists that would have gotten citizenships were actual Nazi believers. They just did it in order to continue their research.
Yeah, and plus, not
like
scientists did get a lot of money and funding for their stuff, so I don't blame them.
Like that's in fact, hey, this is historical fiction, but in Call of Duty Zombies, the beginning of Call of Duty Zombies storyline is that part of the reason Richtofen joined, the only reason that that Group 935 is funded by the Nazis is because they're running low on funds, and they can develop shit for them. That's what most scientist companies did, is they worked with the Nazis to develop something for the Nazis while being funded with their research.
Yeah,
Not actually
whenever
Nazis,
it comes
they
to
just-
science, a lot of people will want to go to the country that will give them the most funding.
And no, but like a lot of
Or
studies
they'll
in
just make a
Germany and
private
stuff.
company and get a lot of resources.
Exactly. If you have a private company, but you want to join, the reason you consult in World War II, especially in like a Nazi-occupied area, why would you want funding from the Nazis? Because you can develop stuff for them and get a ton of funding from the Nazis. So
Yeah.
I don't think any people are actual Nazis.
Yeah. So it's just like, and it's just like, when it comes to, who won the Cold War because of this? It's just like, yeah, they got Nazi scientists, and that's like half the reason why they won in the first place. Cause like, if you get
All right, let's go.
American scientists
I
who created a nuclear bomb and Nazi scientists who were really advanced at the time, you're bound to get something good.
I keep trucking, dude.
Through the help of German scientists. Planck feedback is the idea that as something is heated, it becomes more radioactive. So negative Planck feedback would be the idea that deriving temperature or energy from a system creates more radiation, or in other words, adding heat to it would cancel out the radiation. And it's another one of those sort of like nonsensical concepts in theoretical chemistry, that you could remove radiation from a system or destroy it through amount of energy given in or taken out, only backwards. Manichaeism.
Okay, that is a major problem, especially because of the law, that the conservation of energy law, that states that energy cannot be created or destroyed. So I myself will not believe in this.
I am not a chemistry person. I don't even this is like. So yeah, I'll just move on. I'm not a chemistry person. I don't know about this.
Yeah, I'm not a chemistry person, but I do know.
It sounds like bullshit. I'll say that. It sounds kind of like bullshit because like heat and radiation are related. Let's go.
Wait, hold on. What, did I miss a chemistry one?
Yeah, pretty much what happened. The conspiracy pretty much says that you can either create heat or destroy it by adding it to a system, which either cancels out or creates more energy in a sense, or heat, radiation, whatever, which completely disobeys the conservation of energy law.
I don't like that.
Conservation of mass.
Well, not mass. I mean,
kind
of.
Yeah.
But
no, this is energy.
That doesn't
but
work.
yeah, that doesn't
the
work.
description of energy in this.
It directly disowns physics. And
yeah,
unless we have to restart physics, then I don't think we're gonna be looking to negative Planck feedback anytime soon.
But let's go.
Anyways, yeah, sorry I had to go. I went to get some artichoke hearts and some hot chocolate.
Alright,
well, let's keep going, boys.
As long as you have the hot chocolate, we good.
Let's keep amount
going.
Of energy given in or taken out, only backwards. Manichaeism is this 3rd century concept of religion. It essentially applied ideas of Christianity, Gnosticism, and pagan gods all into one. It originated in Persia and is essentially the idea that Christianity can present itself through pagan gods or modern rituals and things such as, and that all of these ideas of supposedly non-religious elements can come together and make the godhead of sorts. So it's essentially combining Christianity with pagan deities. Valis is a...
Okay, so I get this, and before anyone says anything, no, this is not omnism. This is... I forgot how you say that. But... And the difference between omnism and that is that Christianity is pretty much the key religion in that Christianity can be interpreted as other religions or can be inserted to other religions and still work.
So like Christianity is the religion, but all of them are technically correct because like all Christianity is the most correct, but all these things can be interpreted as all this. Is that kind of what it is?
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And what?
Okay, let's go.
And the difference between that and omnism is that omnism is just all the religions are correct. No one religion is more correct than the other one. They're all correct in their own sense. So yeah, there's the difference between that and omnism.
I have a big problem with religion-based, like, conspiracy facts. Because then it's always just conspiracy theories, because then it's just always going to be a conspiracy until the day that we pass on and then figure that out for ourselves.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's always just going to remain a conspiracy theory, and it's never going to change.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
So it's essentially combining Christianity with pagan deities. Valis is a novel written by Philip K. Dick, who was a famous science fiction author in the 1980s. Valis stands for Vast Acting Living Intelligence System. Essentially, it is the idea that God is a simulation, or rather we are living through a simulation created by God. However, a lot of his theories apply back to Gnosticism, which again was mentioned in the last theory and several of the theories beforehand. And again, it all relates to that idea of there being a god and lesser gods. So what you could derive from this is that the Valis system itself he wrote about is one of these lesser gods. ICBM core.
Huh.
Alright.
I myself do not believe in simulation theory, but it's very interesting to think about. You know?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the thing, right?
And you can't really prove it or disprove it.
And that is the most annoying thing in my opinion about it is you can nor prove it or disprove it.
And that's the thing with all religions, though. Like religions are non-falsifiable or unfalsifiable, which pretty much just means that you can't say it's false or true, because they all hold merit, but you can't say if it's false or true because there's not enough information or there's not enough stuff to tell you if it is or not. So that's just the thing with all religions. They're all unfalsifiable. So if you believe in a religion, you're neither correct or wrong about what you believe in.
I do want to talk about simulation theory.
Alright.
Simulation theory, if we prove simulation theory, it could be a loop. Well, there are two things I want to say about this. It could either be a looping kind of thing, because once you wake up from that simulation, then there's another, and then another, and then another. Or the fact that there's just one, and I'm just thinking bullshit. Anyways, that also proves the fact that there is only one person that exists at the same time. It ties in, and that's something that I like to think about.
Yeah.
Several of these link together, and it's very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason why Jesus is called Jesus is because I'm fucking New Mexican. He's actually my doctor that put me in the simulation.
Also, this video is gonna be titled "Anthony Says Let's Keep Going for 2 hours straight."
I know. Wait. Yeah, dude. Pretty much.
every time we talk about a theory, at the end you're just like, "Let's go."
I'm like, "Let's go, dude. We can finish this." And I'm like, "I want to hear these theories." Like I'm glad we're talking about it. But seriously, sometimes it's like, "All right, let's go, dude. Ready?"
Is that the Valis system itself he wrote about is one of these lesser gods. ICBM decoys has two different definitions. The first being that countries that do not have ICBMs will simply have fake ones in order to deter other world powers from attacking. So essentially the whole gun in the paper bag thing. Also, for those who don't know, ICBM stands for Intercontinental Ballistic Missile. The other idea of it is that whenever an ICBM is launched, there will be several fakes launched with the real one, just so that whatever system is trying to shoot it down has a lesser chance of actually stopping the missile. Pertoa, from everything I can find.
4chan. Oh no.
Before we get to Pertoa, ICBM decoys, that's actually really, this is probably the most realistic thing on this video.
Yeah, like why the hell not?
Like this.
Tell me why. Okay, my question is, why not do this? That's my question.
Okay, if it is true, then this makes. If it is true, this should make me very sad, just because of the fact that, well, it's obviously using a specific government tactic, and if this theory becomes true, then it's out to the public, and then nobody fucking cares anymore.
Yeah.
And it works against us. So I don't want people to prove it until we absolutely need to, and we're going to use this ballistic missile.
Yeah, it's one that should not be known about if it's real. So yeah.
Has a lesser chance of
Alright, I will say, Anthony, and let's keep going.
Pertoa, from everything I can find, is another reference to 4chan. For those that don't know, whenever someone posts on 4chan, their flag of origin and country is shown whenever they do so. For a small window a few years ago, there were a few flags that popped up that had the country listed as Portoa and had a unique flag that had never been seen before. Immediately afterwards, all those posts disappeared, and 4chan simply acted like it was a glitch that never happened, leading people to believe that Portoa or Portoya is a country that exists in a parallel universe.
Which I really love the idea of places in parallel universes, like the one that we saw with that other guy.
Yeah,
that was so fucking cool.
Yeah, Tarid and Portoya. Tasty. I love those alternate universes. They have some really good.
Why does all this shit happen on 4chan, by the way?
Also, I just realized
is just a beacon of weirdness.
I mean, you're not wrong, but
I just realized something. If a universe if a reality overlapped with ours, and originally all of China didn't fucking exist, and then suddenly it did, like midway through our lives, and then reality fixed itself to have us learn and think about like all of China.
Now all of the world knows you're here.
Now all of the world knows China is here.
Let's get that, dude. Okay, let's get this ball rolling, dude.
If reality did change to where this place did exist, then our lives would change to have learned about this in like school and everything.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neato.
Believe that Portoa or Portoya is a country that exists in a parallel universe. And that is it for tier 4. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope
that is it for tier 4, ladies and gentlemen. There are actually some really credible conspiracies in there. And then there's also some that are just really weird and non-credible at all. Like the oil.
So I want to wipe my freaking memory from Spider Lady, but
we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
This is a new conspiracy. That Spider Lady never existed, never will.
All right, so I'm gonna go to part 5, and then I'm gonna pause as soon as video starts.
Dropbox Business makes remote collaboration simple.
Why?
Because we still need to work together, even more.
We're gonna start another video, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you watch the stream, say so in the comments, because then you're a cool person. But yeah,
is Tono streaming on Twitch, dude? Is Tono streaming on Twitch?
Yeah. So I'll see y'all's in the
Hi,
next
stream
video.
viewers.